All right. Hello, everyone. My name's Ben, though in this group I'm known as Door, formerly Mr. President. Um, we are part of a guild that works at. Th- Do I just say local campus? Feel free to butt in if you think I have something better I could say.
Mm, I think that works.
All right. So, anyways, we should probably introduce ourselves. So first, what we're doing here today, we are part of a technical meeting. The point of this technical meeting is that people sometimes like adding their own themes to the rules. I mean, it's D&D. People love homebrewing themes. Of course, people are going to make homebrews. So with that, we should let everyone introduce themselves. So I'll go first. I am Ben Williams, or Door, as you can see in the little picture, and I've been playing this game since 2012, I think. Um, but yeah, I started with 3.5. I was asked, like I was told to be a rules lawyer so that I could help my friends learn the game. So I'm pretty attuned to the rules. I do like 5th edition more though, and that's why I've been focusing a lot on that. With that, let's move up to Bone Daddy.
Oh, that's me. I'm Bone Daddy. My name's Nate, and I am fairly new. I noticed there was a guild on campus when I joined college, and this is my first time playing D&D. So I've only played a couple campaigns, and it's been great.
Cheddar, that's you.
Oh, is it me? Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Cheddar. I've been playing D&D for like maybe 3.5 years, but only recently have I joined the local club at the college, and most of my campaigns have been like for like homebrew worlds.
Hi, I'm Anarchy. I'm pretty new at this game. Nate saw the guild and wanted to join, so I joined with him. Yeah.
All right. So that's an introduction to the people here. I do want to note because I am the former Mr. President. Um, so in case you're wondering, I'm technically not part of the college anymore. So I mostly stick around because I enjoy being here. They enjoy having me, and you know, it's a net positive having the additional experience. That being said, when we are talking about these different items, we might ask for a vote of whether we approve or not. I will not be in the vote. So it's going to be with 3 people, best 2 out of 3, basically. Um, anyways, so I suggest we go to the first item. Anyone want to say something beforehand?
I'm good.
All right,
Carry on.
Let's do
Let's
this.
get the show on the road.
awesome. All right, so the first thing I know, Nate has been wanting. Nate, I believe you were the one that brought this up. Wanting the Thri-kreen to become a playable race.
Yes, I saw him. I loved him, and I wanted him.
All right, so for a while we've been working on a Thri-kreen playable race. We're not definitely it's something that we've been trying to bring in. We look at, we then say, all right, here's good, and then we change it. Then Friday comes around and we're like, oh hey, this isn't good anymore. Let's change it. And they're like, Friday, why did we make those changes? So this has been gone through a lot of revisions and probably needs to go through another, just given a force of habits.
Been a long
Anyways,
time coming.
yep. Anyways, it's good to go through. So should we start with the flavor stuff, or should we just move on ahead to the mechanics? Since
Let's
Um,
let's start with flavor. Let's start from the beginning, and then we'll move on as the list goes down.
all right, yeah, probably can delete this little flavor 3 paragraphs thing. That's not necessary. Um, so I know, Nate, you've been working on the flavor a lot. I just kind of copied the base from the monsters manual, and then you made some changes. So let's start with bug-like appearance. Thri-kreen are a race of bipedal humanoid bugs, most similar in appearance to a praying mantis with 4 arms. They possess, I can't even read that word right now, saltatorial legs?
Salit, Salatorial, and it describes legs specific, the kind of back jointed legs specific to a jumping bug, such as a grasshopper, a flea, or a praying mantis.
Salatorial, does it have an I in it? Is it SALI tutorial or is it Sal tutorial?
I think I actually copied and pasted it just so I wouldn't screw up the spelling, but I will double check.
All right, yeah, no, because I've never heard of that word until now, and like you called it salatorial. I'm just like making sure. Did you pronounce it wrong? Did you write it down wrong? But yeah, I trust you if you say you just copy and pasted it.
Yeah, it's where is it? Yep, saltatorial. Yeah.
Okay.
Multiple.
Yeah, Yahoo's pronunciation was saltatorial.
Okay. So just a slight mispronunciation, because, I don't do that all the time. Yeah, not an issue. Just thought I'd bring it up. Just thought I'd make sure if we're going to do the flavor, we might as well do it right. Good to have a good description of what they look like. As I said, when I was going through for the original Thri-kreen, apparently there's a bunch of variants of what the race can look like. But these seem like the consistent themes amongst all the different variants of the race.
That was my consensus too. Just looking around, that it was the forearms and the bug jointed legs with the pinchers.
Awesome. All right, next. Limited emotions. Well, they experience a full range of emotions. Let's say it right. Let's not improv like I usually do. Thri-kreen experience the full range of emotions, but aren't as prone to emotional outbursts as humans. Thri-kreen who have lived near or interact with humans or other highly emotional creatures often demonstrate a wider range of emotions. Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. That seems accurate from what I've read.
Yeah. It was pretty much lifted directly from their page in the Monsters Manual.
Awesome. That's perfectly fine. I saw Anarchy was talking. What's up?
No.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
good.
My apologies. All right. Isolationists and wanderers. Thri-kreen wander the deserts and savannas of the world, avoiding all of their races. Typically, they consider all of their living creatures to be as potential nourishment, favoring the taste of elves. However, if a creature might be useful for something other than food, the Thri-kreen are unlikely to attack it on sight. Traditionally, Thri-kreen kill to survive, never for sport. I think that last phrase is very important because it is stated in lore that they often do not hunt intelligent creatures, not exactly because of like they don't taste good or anything, but because it's a general threat. Like hunting a human is a lot more dangerous than hunting an elk or a boar, obviously. So
yeah, the elk
And a
that
little
gets
bit
away.
off topic. And a little bit off topic. There's definitely a dirty joke somewhere in there. I'm just not willing to shift through it.
thank you for not bringing
Sift.
it up.
That's the word. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I didn't hear it, and therefore it didn't happen. Moving on.
That's fair. Okay, moving on.
All right. Thri-kreen names. Thri-kreen make no distinction between male and female names. Common names include and so here's my question. Did you actually find a place where these names showed up? Like these all
Yes, those
Oh.
are copied as well.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I like this
So
flavor
like
stuff.
Choctaw.
As you might know, I usually focus on the mechanics, but no, having this flavor is always good. Always good. So might choose a moniker that's possible for others to pronounce. Yeah, that sounds like the Kenku. That's perfect.
Yeah, because I don't, it would be funny to expect humans to call them Chachka.
Yeah. How do you make that sound? Oh, you just clack your mandibles together.
Yeah, you just use your complex jaw structure. What do you mean, man?
All right. Now we get into the mechanics. Artemis or Cheddar.
All right.
Since you're the most inexperienced with the mechanics since the last change, would you like to read them and give your kind of opinions as you see each of them?
Sure, I can go ahead and do that. So the ability score increase is for dexterity increased by 2 and constitution increased by 1, which that's fine. It's pretty standard for that type of thing. The age is not really something I like look
Yeah.
at unless, of course, I'm really concerning myself with the backstory.
Yeah.
But for them being fully matured at 6 and living up to like 30 years, that's very characteristic of like ants and stuff,
Mhm.
as
Yeah,
I understand it anyway.
I guess that is a point. Age, alignment, and size are all less mechanical stuff and more flavor stuff put in the traits block.
Yeah.
By the way, I think we have a typing error. I'm assuming we're going to get a lot of typing errors as we go through, but I already see one for dexterity is capitalized, constitution is not.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it.
I
Should
am.
we capitalize both or should we uncapitalize?
Yeah, one or
Okay.
the other. I need to look at the player's handbook to see which is the most consistent.
Like our Bible.
Yep. Everyone turn to page 42.
Excellent.
Book races. Human is not very
Yeah.
useful here. Gosh darn it. All right.
How about
Strength.
no?
Both capitalized. They're both capitalized. All right.
Yep.
Just a second. I see there's a suggestion. Let me accept. There we are.
Sorry.
No, that's. I was looking for a suggestion. Thank you. All right.
Okay, and then their alignment being chaotic before being civilized.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's
this was
understandable.
a weird debate that me and Nate were having.
Yeah. This was kind of a point of some intrigue.
Yeah. So here's the
Okay.
thing. If you look at the past lore, really, so it really just depends on how you define chaotic and lawful. So Thri-kreen, they have their clan, and the people in their clan are like family. They will fight to the death for them. They will not let them die. It's they are a unit. They are brothers of blood. So their law is protection of their clan, sort of thing. Which means, to an extent, they'd have a little trouble understanding civilization since they are just these clans. But within their clans, they are by far
And
they are extremely lawful. So
okay.
Yeah. To the point where they hold specific sensibilities in order to encourage synergy. Like, like as stated earlier, do not hunt for sport. They don't seem a cruel, chaotic creature. But in the Monsters Manual, they're listed as chaotic neutral.
Okay. Um that sounds like a really interesting dichotomy that a player could explore or like help
yeah, you
set
cut out, so I just jumped in.
up.
How are
Have the
how
help
is
of the DM
alignment
set up
done
that because
for
it's like
other
kind of torn
player races?
All right, two people were talking at once. Artemis, can you finish your idea?
between
Artemis, are you cutting out?
their new friend their
Uh, Artemis, I think you're cutting out.
Hello?
He's so from our side, it looks like his screen's highlighting like he's talking, but no voice is coming through. All right, Artemis, if you hear us,
Better.
do try to reconnect and figure it out. But I'm gonna let Nate go through. I'm gonna just send a message to Artemis, make sure he knows.
Okay.
If you could finish your idea, Nate, when you were both talking at the same time.
Sure. No, it was just it was pretty much just a continuation on the prior point. Just that ultimately alignment, it doesn't it doesn't factor in too much in fifth edition. I know that, and that any player character can be exception. It was just kind of pinning down essentially, what the flavor of the Thri-kreen entails as far as alignment goes. What does their race function like? Are they a chaotic people? In what way?
Yeah,
It was kind of interesting to think of.
it is, and that's why a lot of people don't like how law and chaos are prescribed in the game. It's why I'm really glad that with fifth edition, alignment isn't very important for mechanics. So,
How, just as a refresher, as somebody who is D&D, just jumped into 5e, how did the alignment system factor in to mechanics in the prior edition?
all right. Just a really fast, quick update. Artemis Cheddar is gone for the moment. He'll be back momentarily. So, but until then, we'll be talking about this alignment stuff. So, just gain some water. In 3.5, there are actually detect good and detect evil were their own spells, and they detected your alignment. They weren't detecting like, nowadays detect good and evil. It finds just, is it a fiend, is it an undead, is it a celestial? But back then it was like, oh, are you a neutral evil character? Detect evil picks you up. Are you a neutral good character? Detect good picks you up. And it also had a theme where it's like, depending on what level you are, is how big it picked you up on. So, and then I think there was also, I might be misremembering this, but I'm pretty sure the paladin's holy smite ability only worked on evil creatures. So that's like an ability that was connected, that whether or not it worked was literally just dependent on, are they evil or are they just chaotic neutral? And sometimes that's up for debate. Like, they might be good in their own mind, and does that mean a holy smite doesn't work? If a holy smite hits you, do you realize, oh, I should stop being a bad guy then? I guess I'm wrong. Like, how does that work?
Well, ultimately, like if we're being honest, morality is subjective, and even more so in a setting which basically consists of locations and entities which exist in these locations and are powerful. Good and evil is kind of determined by the structures in place, and it's hard to say what we might think is good. A god in a setting of D&D might seem quite malignant according to our moral sensibilities in our world.
Huh. Sorry, I kind of cut out because Artemis joined back in, and I was trying to pay attention if he was talking.
That's okay.
Oh, you're there. Okay, thank goodness.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I can hear each other.
You okay? Good.
All right.
Because like Discord's given me a bunch of notifications like, oh, we can't hear you. Let's fix that.
Oh, yeah. All right. So we can hear you now.
All right.
We just finished having a conversation about alignments, so let's keep going.
Okay. Let me just load that up again.
Wait, really fast. Nate, were we finished talking about everything you want to talk about with alignment?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The only reason I kind of got, I was just looking at alignment for in the player's handbook, just to kind of use as a basis for what we should come up with on the Thri-kreen. I was looking at the half elf because it actually mentions that they're a little chaotic, and basically from all the races I can find, it briefly kind of says what most of the what most members tend to be and why, and that's not something that I'm going to find directly as written for the Thri-kreen, and it's something that if we want to put down, we're going to have to make up and piece together based on what we know about the race.
Yep. I was looking at lizard folk, but they really are, like, I was going to use lizard folk as an example. I just pulled up in Volo's guide, but they are neutral, and it's because they are more animalistic than even Thri-kreen, so that doesn't really help much.
Yeah. How about this? I'll read half elves really quick. Half elves share the chaotic bent of their elven heritage. They value both personal freedom and creative expression. So that's a pretty good start. What do the Thri-kreen want? It seems they're quite a utilitarian species, the Thri-kreen.
Well, for now, I think we just addressed that alignment isn't too important in the system, and that it's a good thing. So, for now, let's leave it as is and keep moving. Is that okay? All right, Cheddar, it shows that you're glowing and talking,
Yeah,
but
I
I
agree
don't
with
hear.
that.
Okay, there you are. All right. So, Cheddar, if you will continue with size. Are you still up to talk, or should I talk in your place? All right, I'll talk in your place. So, size. Thri-kreen stand as a similar size as humans, ranging from around 5 feet to 7 feet, and weighing between 100 and 350 pounds on average. Your size is medium. So, I'm just looking at that weight range. Yeah.
That's a big bug.
That's a large range.
I mean, I got quite a range just looking up different Thri-kreen from how big they are as monsters to how big they were as prior player character options. And what I got was a pretty big range. Nothing over medium size, of course.
Yep.
But I couldn't tell you where exactly I got, but I could tell you I got it from somewhere.
Yeah. I'm not going to challenge it for now. By the way, Cheddar, speak real fast to make sure you're still connected.
Hello, hello.
I heard hello, hello.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. All right.
So, we are just, I know you disconnected real fast. We're discussing the weight of the size, just being from anorexic to the bodybuilders of bodybuilders.
Okay.
The beefiest bug boy.
Gosh. What was that guy's name? Like Eric, it's like Eric the Beast Hall or something like that. Eddie Hall, that was it.
You can
He's like,
definitely haul some shit.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So, I mean, yes, it technically it weighs between those pounds. On average. There are exceptions, I guess. Okay.
That kind of scares me. Like, is there a 50-pound one that you can just kind of pick up and chuck, or like a 500-pound one where it's just like, I crush?
Exactly.
I mean, humans do range between that. They do. There are humans
On
that are bigger
average.
than 300.
Yes, technically they do range between these two things on average.
Apparently, the average human male is around 200 pounds. So, would we say it's between 300 to 100 pounds?
Yeah, let's just split the difference, everyone. Okay.
I mean, technically that's not wrong.
Tell me you haven't seen a 300-pound human. Come on.
Well, did we see them on average is the question.
That's true.
Okay. Let's stop. Okay, this joke was great. I'm glad we're joking, but let's keep going, I think. I think that, this is weird, but it's not going to have any mechanical change, really. So, we are onto the abilities, along with ability score increase, that actually decide this, and where we figure out, did we overtune it? Which is really the question that, spoiler alert, whether we overtuned it or not is the question that's going to be asked here. Not whether we undertuned it.
Mm-hmm.
So, last time I looked at this, the base walking speed was like just the normal 30 feet, but now it's 40. Is there any reason why there was a change there?
So, the first is that the monster originally has 40 feet. And the second, you know how I was saying overtuning it? We were literally overtuning it and just it could use a little buff, which sounds insane when we probably get to the end here. But that was literally the entirety of the argument from my side.
Okay.
Nate might have an argument himself.
I remember there was a way aside from the fact that it has 40 feet in the monster's manual. I know the Wood Elf has 35. I don't know if any other, again, being new and not memorizing all the distances.
The only one I can think of.
Wood Elf is higher.
Yeah. So
Is the highest I know of.
as for my experience, I think that wood elves is the exception being 35. Small creatures and dwarves are 25. And I think the Centaur from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica just broke everything open. Also, I think there's like a Pathfinder or something in Eberron that has a higher movement speed. But yeah, the Centaurs have like a 40-foot movement speed at themselves. So
Let me just crack that open real quick. Yep, your base walking speed is 40 feet.
yep.
Okay.
Be honest, I with the Thri-kreen, I would like them to be a bit speedier, just because of the legs and the jumping speed. They seem like a mobile creature in pretty much any edition reference I can find of them. I would be fine uh, with less than 40 movement foot speed, and because there are ways to make your player character faster. There are ways to improve their speed if you want to focus on that and collect the right feats and pick a specific class. But yeah, that was just
Oh my
kind of
God.
that was just kind of the initial rationalization. Was one, it's been done before by the Centaur, and two, that's how it's written in the book.
Yep. And
Guys, I've connected the dots.
What's up?
Bug Sonic.
Bug Sonic.
Okay. Just one little mechanical notes when it comes to 40 feet versus 35 feet. Generally speaking, the big jump is going above 30 feet because there's a lot of creatures that move 30 feet. Moving faster than them gives you that edge. But moving from 35 to 40 feet is a minor development compared to 30 to 35. So once we decided we want to go above 30, it was just kind of, why not 40?
Why not as written, I think was the rationale.
Basically.
Yeah.
So this is definitely something we could come back up if we're like, oh, we need to tune this back down. That's definitely a thing we can do.
Yeah, I'm okay with leaving it at 40 feet for now, only because, like, in the monster manual, that's how it is.
All right.
And then dark vision. You can see in dim light within 60 feet of you as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. You can't discern color in darkness, only shades of gray.
Taken straight off of half-orcs, elves, dwarves, and all those other dark vision races.
Yeah, it makes sense why an ant person would have dark vision, because, like, don't they create colonies underground anyway?
Also, well, while these... Okay, so Thri-kreen, we gotta stop calling them ant people. Thri-kreen are Thri-kreen. They are very different. That being said, Thri-kreen have dark vision as per lore. So, for the same reason elves have dark vision as per lore, Thri-kreen do.
Why do elves have... I get drow.
Okay, actually, that's a good point. That's a good point, because they didn't have it in 3.5. So allow me to explain. There was, back in 3.5, there was dark vision, and there was low light vision. In this system, they just bundled them together to make it not as complicated.
They also have superior dark vision.
Yes, because dark vision actually has ranges. But yeah, it was really... I think it was possible back in 3.5 to be able, in dim light, to see better than a dwarf as an elf. But then, like, in darkness, obviously the dwarf sees the best. It was really weird and awkward in ways like that. So they just shoved dark vision and dim and low light vision into one. And that's why every race except humans every race except the three that we play. The three we play, human, halfling, and dragonborn. Wait, none of you play halfling. Never mind. But yes, everyone but those three races have dark vision, basically. Because if you have low light vision in this system, you have dark vision.
Okay.
So I mean,
quite common.
Yeah, I'm okay with giving them.
So it's quite common, and it's just written in the monsters manual. My rationale.
Yep. And my general argument is, if we need to change something and reduce it, dark vision isn't where the issue is coming from.
Yeah. This is kind of just like a cherry on top of all the other shit that we're giving it.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So dark vision, good. Moving on to bite. Using an action, you may bite with your mandibles, dealing piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier.
This was lifted directly from the actual description, and the 1d6 was lifted directly from lizard folk. Furthermore, the point of contention on the bite was that mechanic absolutely could not be lifted as it's written for the Thri-kreen in the monsters manual, because it is absolutely broken.
Yeah, we discussed the issue of just free poisoning, especially the Thri-kreens, which can cause paralysis.
Yeah, let me read it real quick, just because I'm on. It deals the 1d6 plus 1 piercing, and the target must succeed on a DC 11 Constitution saving throw or be poisoned for 1 minute. If they fail the throw by 5 or more, they're also paralyzed while poisoned.
Yep.
Damn.
Which, it kind of speaks for itself. To be honest, it's really strong.
Um,
And they also had a claw and could bite and claw, just like the dragons.
So, you know how you lifted the description of 1d6 plus your strength from lizard folk?
Mhm.
The using an action was definitely not lifted, because here's the thing, by using the phrase using an action, this ignores the attack action. This is supposed to be an additional unarmed strike, as is. If you had extra attack, you would not be able to use it, and that's an issue here in description.
Mm.
I don't think it's too important to we'll edit that before we release this, but yeah, we will edit that beforehand. Let's just talk about it as is, assuming we wrote it correctly.
Okay. Well, speaking from the experience of a Dragonborn player, if it's an action, you're not going to use it. But as a bonus action, that it just seems like another added benefit of
We're not adding it as a
playing this
bonus
race.
action. It is supposed to be an unarmed strike. It's an attack action.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. We're not making that a bonus action.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, no. I understand. That's an added benefit that breaks and doesn't even do what Thri-kreens do in the monster manual.
Okay.
The whole reason. So this was actually an argument. Me and Nate had a debate about adding the poison in some form, and my general argument was the poison isn't really the theme that I saw as, and people that play the Thri-kreen can tell me I'm horribly wrong, but poisonous bite was not the theme that defined a Thri-kreen to me. It was the other stuff, the insectoid-like appearance. We'll get to the weapons later. We definitely need a discussion because that's going to take some work. But yeah, it's the bug-like appearance, the weapons, the jumping range with the legs. Like, these seem to be the themes that make a Thri-kreen a Thri-kreen. So, we removed the poison already because we felt that adding a poisonous effect was too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bite is
Now,
this is literally just a minor
as
ability because technically they have it.
Okay. And another question I'm going to ask is can you use this for every single one of your actions, as implausible as that is?
What do you mean as you just bite every turn?
Yeah, or is it just like a once per long rest type of thing?
It's a bite every turn. Treat it as if you have a D6 like a club or something always equipped. Club's not a good example. Let me go to the player's handbook, get the exact example. But yeah, you always have a D6 weapon equipped.
Okay, so it's like a short sword on your face.
And it doesn't have finesse. Because your face is not finesse.
Yeah, it's not finesse-able.
Yeah, I've tried to get the right phrasing. I recognize I got it wrong. It's a mace. A mace on your face. Yeah. There we are.
Okay, a mace face.
beautiful.
Okay, yeah. All right. And then are we all good with the bite? Any other comments?
Yeah, no, the bite is there because it didn't make sense not to be there. That's about it.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
And yeah,
All
we
right.
just decided that
Really
the
moving on to the
poison.
meat and potatoes.
The real question with the
Okay,
with
yeah,
the
no.
bite is if there's a poison connected to it, and for now the answer is no because we had to make remove enough edge cases already. So we decided the poison, like how drow have drow
Okay.
poison. I get that they create that instead of being internal, but like drow poison is not listed anywhere in their stat block. They don't get proficiency with a poisoner's kit, nothing like that. So I just decided the same way they don't get poison, Thri-kreen won't. Definitely a debate there, but for now I think it's just easier to balance this way.
Yeah. And I mean, the sandwich is so full already, and
Yeah, we have
adding
not.
poison.
Yeah, we still have some sandwiching. We still have to get to the meat. We have just ready for the ham on top because we're about to get through the ham with the extra gravy. So,
All right.
Go for it.
Let's move on to the meat and potatoes, boys.
Oh yes.
there we are.
Main course.
All right. Thick carapace. Your exoskeleton gives you more defenses than an average human. Than the average humanoid? Okay. While not wearing armor, you have an armor class equal to 13 plus your dexterity modifier.
Yep. It's mage armor. Lizard folk have the exact same ability, I believe.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, so the lizard folk has a lot of other like little warnings. Like if the armor you wear would leave you with a lower AC, oh, that's interesting. So lizard folk can wear armor and still say, "Oh, hey, this leather armor isn't very useful." Well, I guess I use my natural armor while wearing leather armor.
All right.
I don't think
Interesting.
that's too important to add. I would have like here's the theme. Um this phrasing gives you I'm pretty sure you don't need to add maybe you do. I'm just thinking on phrasing points. I think it's fine as is. Right now it's mimicking the mage armor spell. The lizard folk is very slightly
Yeah.
better because if you have some sort of leather armor with a magical supernatural effect, you could wear that leather armor and then still wear this I think it's called like robes of glamour or something like that. But
Yeah, where it's like a +1.
no, it's like a +1 leather
No?
armor. It's still better to use this.
Oh.
Glamour is you
Yeah,
would
okay.
it would make it look like you're wearing a fancy outfit even though you're armored or something like that. It's not as good as this guy's self, but it is potent. Anyways,
Okay.
that we might
I mean,
want to add that little definition. We're assuming
I
that.
I'm just saying I personally don't really have a problem with this, and it also gives good synergy because the race itself gives you a +2 to dexterity anyway.
Yep, and this is where the synergy starts kicking in. As synergy +2 dexterity, thick carapace, and if we have nothing to say about it, we move to the next ability, which is where the synergy starts going ham. This is the meats next to the potatoes.
All right.
Chameleon.
Just a quick thing before that. Before we mentioned this chameleon carapace ability, this is actually changed from the way this is written is actually changed from how it is written in the Monsters Manual, which again, similar to the bite, was a little too strong to put in. In the Monsters Manual, as written, says Thri-kreen can change the color of its carapace to match the color and texture of surroundings. As a result, mechanically, it has advantage on stealth checks made to hide. And Dor, you mentioned when I mentioned that advantage is quite strong, and that maybe we should change it, and not just give advantage.
And so, and we'll talk about this when we get to chameleon carapace. Before we do that, I just realized, Anarchy, you haven't said much at all. I just want to make sure you don't feel ostracized or anything. Have you just not had anything to say?
No, it's just it's not my character, so I don't know much about it,
All right.
and I don't want to put anything in that would pull you guys away. So I'm
It's
just listening to the conversation, trying to understand his race and how he wants to play it. That's what I'm looking at.
Well, feel free to bring up anything you want to talk about. I know you and Nate are pretty new to this system, so feel free. Like, Nate asks questions constantly, and that's why he's feeling more confident to bring these things up. So feel free to ask any questions if you don't understand anything. Why, like, if you're wondering why bites, I'm not worried as negligible, while thick carapace and chameleon carapace are going to be notable, feel free to ask that question.
Okay, will do.
All right. Just want to make sure you're feeling welcome.
Yeah.
All right. With that, let's move on to chameleon carapace.
All right, chameleon carapace. The Thri-kreen can change the color of their carapace to match the color and texture of their surroundings. You have proficiency in the stealth skill. In addition, as long as you're standing completely still and not being observed directly, you do not need to find cover to hide.
So, now that I think about it, that's not like insane. Like, it's just that's
It's really not.
yeah, that plus thick carapace plus a dex of +2. It's a lot of good synergy.
It
But
ensures
no
that
one.
you'll. Well, the deck.
Hmm?
Go ahead. I apologize. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
all I was saying is it's really good synergy, but now that I read it after we've had a week to sit on it, it doesn't seem as insane as it did back then. A skill proficiency, that's definitely good. Stealth is a good proficiency to get, but you don't need to find cover to hide. Just feels a lot like Lightfoot halfleets have the ability to find cover behind their allies. That's actually stronger because you could jump back behind them constantly, and you can move around while doing that. So, well, this is more like you could do it without allies. This is D&D. How often are you going to split the party?
This is kind of like the bush in Fortnite. You can put it on, but if somebody that you're just a person.
You just cut out. You said
Huh?
it's like a bush in Fortnite. You could put it
Yeah,
on,
it's
and
like
then you just cut out.
It's like the bush in Fortnite. You put it on, but if somebody sees you put it on, they're gonna know you're fake. That you're just camouflaging.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how I saw it functioning, basically. You can't do it if somebody's looking at you.
Yep.
Anyway, like Ben said, the three good things of this class work. The puzzle pieces fit very well together, but not one ability is stronger, like outrageously strong, to where we need to nerf it into the ground to make it,
Yeah.
not a DM's nightmare.
Yep.
I just imagine a lot of rogues coming out of this personally.
Yeah. There's going to be some cool rogues in here, definitely, just from those three abilities alone. But, I mean, there's already tabaxis coming out for rogues. I think DMs have a lot more worry there.
Oh, yeah.
I know I do. Thank you, Vale.
I've heard stories. I've heard tales of Vale.
Kind of hard to start a fight when the fight begins and he's already 40 feet up a cliff with an arrow shooting down.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways. So yeah, that's one of the big synergies. It also synergizes a bit with the next ability, but not exactly, but let's go to the next one, I guess. Unless we have something else to bring up with chameleon carapace.
All right. So, standing leap. Your jumping distance is doubled, and you do not require a running start to jump full distance. Now, I'm a little rusty on my,
Want me to give you the
jumping
mathematics of it,
rules.
basically?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
All right. So your jump distance is equal to your strength score. So by doubling it, you have. So if you have a strength score of 10, with this you could jump 20 feet. Usually when you jump, when you first have to get 10 feet of running movement. So in this case, you could just spring 20 feet without moving much. It is worth noting I did look it up. Doubling your jump distance also doubles your jump height. According to what I read online, I'll have to look at the player's handbook because I thought they had a different calculation for it. But according to the online source that I found, you just make a DC 10 athletics check, and you could jump a quarter of your height without any penalty, basically. Something like that. I'll have to look it up again, but this does increase your jumping height, and yeah, I'll look it up again just to confirm. I'm going to look from the player's handbook this time.
Right.
How might a very strong, because this is quite a strong boost, how might a very strongly boosted jump affect gameplay, basically, for the player and for the DM?
So let's assume, originally, I know when there were some edits, someone just put, you can jump 30 feet and you could high jump 15 feet. The issue with that is that's like gaining the ability to fly. You could literally jump out over and around someone's threat range, land on an object behind them, and shoot them from behind. Like, if jump gets too severe, like, I'm not worried too much because the jump spell is a spell, and as is, this will stack with the jump spell, but requires the jump spell. So, with that, it's kind of like pseudo flight, but it requires stuff, and you still have to hit the ground. The main issue is just, well, pseudo flight. Gaining the ability to just the same. It's actually worse with the tabaxi, I'd argue, because if there's anything to climb up, suddenly they get that height. So, but gosh, I think we actually use climbing rules wrong. But look, I'm gonna look this up right now because it's been a while since I looked this up, and I need to figure out which page in the player's handbook this is. If someone wants to talk to fill the air.
Man, this would be a really good place to put like an ad intro. Just like
Sponsored by Wizards of the Coast.
Gosh, I don't think we can't afford a sponsor.
Raid Shadow Legends. No, I'm kidding.
It's your boy, Raid Shadow Legends.
Gosh. I'm sure we could actually afford that sponsor if we tried.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're an official association, man.
Oh, dude, we'd actually have money for you to manage, Nate.
Oh man, we could actually have a budget.
Gosh.
God.
Gosh. So in case you're wondering, so when we started the club, we were technically given $100, which is what we use, or $100 or $200 or something, which is what we use to get you guys those starting books. We basically said, all right, here's the $200. We'll do the process of submitting so that the school will grab the money that owes us to buy the books. We decided, it's going to take them a while, so our advisor was like, you know what? I'll pay it from my own account, and then I'll just have the school reimburse me. A year later, he came back saying, yeah, the school still hasn't reimbursed me, so don't use your own money, guys. Just wait. So...
okay.
Yeah.
So we technically still have $200 floating?
No. We spent it. We just... Technically, our advisor is down a creek.
Okay.
I think he might have gone back since then, but, like, someone brought up, like, how about I pay for it, and then you guys can pay me later. The advisor was like, nope, we are not doing this again. So, high jump, here we are. Alright, here's the high jump in the book. I'm so sorry it took me this long. So, alright, so here, I'm just jumping page 182. Let's just start at the beginning. Your strength determines how far you can jump. long jump. When you make a long jump, you cover a number of feet up to your strength score if you move at least 10 feet on foot immediately before the jump. Sorry, I'm just like messing up with my words. But yeah, so that first ability is saying you don't need to move those 10 feet. When you make a standing long leap, you can leap only half that distance. Either way, each foot you clear on the jump costs a foot of movement. The rule assumes that the height of your jump doesn't matter, such as a jump across a stream or chasm. At your team's option, you must succeed on DC 10 Strength Athletics check to clear a low obstacle no taller than a quarter of the jump's distance, such as the hedge or low wall. Otherwise, you hit it. When you land on difficult terrain, you must succeed an acrobatics check or land on your feet. Otherwise, you land prone. So that's where I got from the reading. Taller, you can clear a low obstacle no taller than a quarter of the jump's distance to jump over it. So that's where it's coming from. So if you have like a 20-foot jumping distance, you can then clear a 5-foot jump as part of that long jump. There's also rules for high jump. There are also rules for high jump. When you make a high jump, you leap into the air a number of feet equal to 3 plus your strength modifier. If you move at least 10 feet on foot immediately before the and this is okay, they have a bunch of parentheses, but let me restate that. When you make a high jump, you leap into the air a number of feet equal to 3 plus your strength modifier if you move at least 10 feet on foot immediately before the jump. When you make a standing high jump, you can jump only half that distance. Either way, each foot you clear on the jump costs a foot of movement. In some circumstances, your DM might allow you to make strength athletics checks to jump higher than you normally can. You can extend your arms half your height above yourself during the jump, thus you can reach above your distance, jump plus 1/2 times your height. Okay, so hold up. So if you have a 20-foot jump distance because you have a 10-foot strength score, your high jump is still 3 feet, which becomes 6 feet. Oof.
Yeah.
That sounds, and again, I'm the new guy. That sounds a little minuscule. I feel like I could jump further than 3 feet, and I don't know if
Okay, that's high jump. That's how high you could jump straight up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, that's the average person could jump 10 feet without issue.
Yeah, if they have 10 feet of running, apparently.
Yep.
All right, but our boy, doesn't have to run to jump lengthwise or height-wise the full distance.
I'm gonna just, because those are two different abilities, I'm just gonna say jumping distance and jump height. Any objections?
No, I'm good.
All right. That just makes it a lot more clear, because apparently those are two different abilities. Even though if you long jump, you actually jump higher than if you just high jumped. Which is exactly why we did this. So, there we go. And
Sounds like jumping is just a smidge weird in 5th edition.
Yeah, usually what happens is did you cast the jump spell? No. Or, yes, okay, we just assume you can. That's basically the two answers in 5th edition.
Yeah.
So many of Caleb's puzzles are getting across chasms.
It's a fun puzzle. The problem is, these are old mechanics that they just had to bring back. It happens a few times in 5th edition, where they're just... What was it? I think in my very first video, I brought up how cover, like, unless you're explicitly told that cover exists and I'm using cover, people just assume cover doesn't exist because it's just an additional complication. Yeah, it's just an additional complication. I think they use the exact same cover rules as in 3.5, but most people just ignore it.
Yeah. Like, I have to brush up. I'm not sure exactly how cover...
And that's perfectly fine, and I'm assuming your DM has never had you use cover. Unless someone actively said, I'm going to hide behind this rock as cover. Unless that happens, you never see it.
No, that's only happened once.
I mean, I'm pretty sure every DM I've played with, excluding a couple times, has always used the rule of cover adds to the enemy's DC.
Cough,
I mean
cough.
AC. Sorry.
If I may address, have you ever played a ranged attack a build that uses ranged attacks?
Yes.
Did the DM ever account for the fact that when an ally's in their way, that technically gives the enemy half cover against the attack?
Yeah, Zippy's actually used that a couple times.
Oh,
For
really?
melee attacks as well.
That
Yeah.
changes things. That's how this rule was built. That's why archery gives you the +2 to attack instead of any hit damage points. That is good to know. I did not know Zippy did that. But I think. Do you know of anyone other than Zippy that uses those rules? Like,
Specifically, a friend of mine, I was playing an arcane archer to where they had to actually look up on the rules of cover. So that's usually that's the reason why. But other than that, in case someone was trying to like hide, they didn't really come up.
yep. That's usually I find that they don't come up much. That's interesting that there are actually players that actually use the quality of cover. And actually that's a good question. How does that feel? Playing with cover? Like, does it feel more dynamic? Does it just feel punishing? Like, how does that feel?
Well, we were like in a tunnel that kind of like bottlenecked an army. Well, like a camp of a few dozen, sorry, a couple dozen goblins. So it felt like I was actually having to, reach around my compatriots instead of just being like, oh, I do this, roll, combat happens. Okay,
Did it
my
so
turn, roll, damage.
so it felt did it feel like it had a extra dynamic, or that just like that description is weird for me. Was that an extra dynamic that added, or was it just an extra thing that you had to
Uh,
account for?
Basically, what I'm saying is I liked that I had to account for it. It
Okay.
felt more real, is basically what I'm saying.
Good to know. I do like that, and all right, I will consider that. If I ever have a chance to run a campaign with you guys again, gosh, so
Oh, yeah.
there's a good delay before my next interview for what I'm doing right now. I might try to do a
Mhm.
campaign next Friday. I'll see if I can.
Maybe.
If I do, I will try some of those cover mechanics, see how it plays. Because
Epic.
usually when I play with new players, I don't want to add that extra complication. And then once you are used to not having to use cover, it's the only rule that doesn't involve advantage and disadvantage. So
It just
Yeah.
it just affects your armor class.
correct. Half cover is a
Yeah,
plus.
it depends on how.
There is half
Go
cover,
ahead.
3/4 cover, and full cover. And it either gives you a +2, a +5, or just cannot be attacked. I think we all understand full cover, but beyond that,
Yeah.
I apologize. There's probably some beeping in the video. One of my other Discord servers, they're apparently starting up a conversation. Oh well. Anyways, so that was a good thing to talk about. So I'm glad to see that there are people using the rules as intended. Um, I'll have to I'll need to look into that more.
Um, in our last session, actually, just yesterday, a new player, he was reading the book before he started, and aware of the cover mechanic, and he utilized half cover to dodge, or to prevent himself from being hit by a dragon's breath weapon, which is good
That's
because he just stood up from making some saving throws.
that is really cool. That is honestly
Yeah.
really cool. That's how cover is supposed to work. I just the reason when new people are joining in, it's usually not a good idea to force never give more than is necessary for new players. But once they're not new, it's the question of how do you bring them up. I think cover is a good start. That's definitely like rule number 2. Once you get the mechanics, the problem, like, definitely I'd rather have cover used more dynamically than add flanking as is in the DM's guide.
Yeah.
Flanking does have its options, but the system is not built for flanking the way it's built for that clever can just be slotted in.
Yeah, it was a clever way that he did it. I was kiting the dragon upwards with my illusions, and it was currently out of range. So there was a the new kid was a fight. Their new kid was a paladin, and we had a minotaur build a snowbank. So Caleb had him make some strength rolls, and he rolled a 20 and then a 5. And Caleb said he made a reasonable snowbank that would provide half cover if the dragon landed on the other side of it, which it did. And so the Minotaur was able to drag the new player, making his death throws, and he used healing hands to get him up behind half cover.
I do like the dynamic of cover. I do like that. I do like that a lot. I think that the reason it worked so well was because the player brought it up instead of the DM trying to. Like, I think one of the big problems this is not a video about cover. It's cool that it's being used well. I'm just gonna stop there.
We can talk about it later.
Definitely, and I would like to talk about it later. But we are still in the middle of Thri-kreen. I'm thinking when we are done getting through all the abilities, we're going to have to go back through the abilities to make sure the class as a whole is understood.
Mm-hmm.
Because
race, it's not a class.
Thank you. That is my fault.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
It's just we don't want to create a misconstruction.
We have an interesting racial trait up next, actually.
This is one of the ones that our phrasing needs to do some work. But until then.
Yeah. Okay, so four-limbed. You have an additional pair of arms, which allows the use of multiple items. You are treated as having a free hand even when both hands are full. You can only use this ability while not wearing armor due to its restricting your mobility.
Maneuverability.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It gets the same point across. So this synergizes with a thick carapace a bit, since you have that extra AC while not armored.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand
and it just gives you another incentive not to wear more armor.
Yep. Do you understand what I mean by this? You are treated as having a free hand?
Well, like specifically for when you're casting when you're holding two weapons and then you're able to like cast a spell.
That is one example, definitely. Another example is if you want to like pull out a potion or some other item, you can do that even when you have a sword and shield equipped or a two-handed weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's basically the concept. I just want to make sure it's clearly understood,
So you were still able to perform somatic functions, basically.
Yeah.
And grab components.
Yeah. In case anyone's wondering, yes, we did make sure the phrasing free hand does not mean like, oh, you can wield a third weapon, because the idea mechanically it's as if you have two hands, but then you have the function of a free hand. So
yeah,
you could still shove. You can still. I'll have to look at if can you grapple. I think this allows you to grapple.
I think so.
Actually, let me just really quick, because there was kind of an interesting point I wanted to bring up regarding that.
Yes, feel free.
And it was, we keep coming back to Ravnica with all their interesting races they add. And one interesting such thing was with the Simic hybrid, upon reaching 5th level, you can manifest a weird bodily quirk, one of which can be grappling appendages, which are two arms that sprout from your shoulders that can be used to hit in a 1d6 plus your strength and can grapple. But they basically cannot do anything else. They cannot wield weapons, magic items, or any other specialized equipment.
So what's your question about that?
Basically, I know that they phrase this to prevent, and they phrase this is kind of their first try. I don't think any other player character race has more than two grasping limbs, other than again the Loxodon, which has kind of the same.
Oh yeah, it has the nose.
Yeah, it has their
Oh my gosh,
ability.
we could use that nose, the description of a nose, to help us make the description for four-limbed. I didn't even think about that.
Ooh, let's see. What does it say? Trunk. You can grasp things with your trunk, and you can use it as a snorkel. It has a reach of 5 feet. Can lift a number of pounds equal to 5 times your strength score. You can do the following simple tasks: lift, drop, hold, push, or pull an object or a creature. Open or close a door or container, grapple someone, or make an unarmed strike.
That is a full-on hand. That literally is everything but equip a weapon or shield.
The DM might allow other simple tasks to be added to that list of options. Your trunk can't wield weapons, shields, or do anything that requires manual precision, such as tools, magic items, or performing somatic components of a spell.
Jeez. So yeah, I did get to the grappling section in the player's handbook. It specifically says, using at least one free hand, you try to seize the target by making a grapple check instead of an attack roll. Which means...
So by having a free hand, you are able to grapple.
So here's the weird phrasing thing here, and what we will need to address in the future. Your tree is having a free hand even when both hands are full. Let's say you grapple one creature. Do you still have a free hand? Can you grapple another? How about a third? How about a fourth? How about a fifth, a sixth, a seventh? Like, I'm glad that this wording is so simple, but because it's so simple, it means that you always have a free hand, no matter how much you fill it. That's our flaw.
To be honest, I go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, I'm the one who's interrupting you, I think. So you go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention that as nice as it is to have this kind of short and sweet, it is an original mechanic. There are no rules as written that directly mirror how this multi-limb ability.
Oh.
So maybe more is a little better. I don't want to clutter, of course. But I do prefer the detail the Loxodon trunk adds to something that's shorter, that would allow somebody to overly freely interpret and, potentially break.
There. Your tree is having one free hand. This way you can only grapple one creature. Well then hold up. They have 4 hands. How dexterous are those 2 hands? Because they definitely seem smaller. Right. So like the 2 hands in the Thri-kreen picture definitely seem smaller than the 2 bigger hands. Do we want them to have 1 free hand or 2 free hands? But I think, just make it 1 free hand is enough to remove the break.
Yeah. See, with 2 free hands, it kind of gets to the point where I'm almost breaking it, but like, if it's just 1, then it also feels like, well, what's my 4th hand doing?
Working with the 3rd one.
Yeah. So let's say that both hands are used to express that free hand.
Yeah, you are treated as having one free hand. So yeah, that so all right. Sorry, I apologize for stopping you. So let's assume that these two hands are acting as one free hand. Continue.
And then we should also add the phrasing of even when both primary hands are full.
Thank you. That is really good. That is very good and very important.
Yeah, because it's the two big hands that are the main.
Should instead of saying multiple, instead of saying allow the use of multiple items, should we say something like use? I don't know. The word multiple just kind of implies more than a single. No, it's fine. I think it's fine. This isn't even. This is the
Yeah.
descriptive picture, not the ability based one.
Mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah. The mechanics.
I mean, if there's any future confusion, then we're definitely gonna have to come back and like rewrite it to be more descriptive.
There's a small
But for
point.
now, I think it works.
There's just one thing I can think of that might be a little confusing. What can these free hands wield?
Oh, do we want to specifically say that they can
Yeah.
use potions and other similar items, but cannot wield weapons? Should I say something like that?
I mean,
You also want to exclude them being able to use somatic and material components.
Oh, I think it's so. I actually think it's fine using somatic material components personally. Well, hold up. Like this is okay. So this is a race with dexterity and constitution, and to use this has to not wear armor. And to use somatic and material components means you're being a caster with the ABIs that don't fit. And so here's basically the theme. The only time your hands are full is because they're wielding like a weapon and a shield. The caster classes
True.
The caster classes that can wield a weapon and a shield all have armor proficiency. To use this four-limbed ability, you have to not be wearing armor.
So I guess technically we really don't have to add the option of. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that.
a
Yeah.
little.
I'm sorry if you can.
Yeah, so sorry about that.
Until that stops, do you want me to? Should we put out push to talk for you?
Yeah, let me just do that.
All right. Just remember you're on push to talk. Is that how you spell?
I was thinking that the question that might come up is, can the free hand wield a shield?
Something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So am I good to make this from a suggestion into an actual?
Do you want to use, if we're gonna go for barring complex motion, do you want to go for how it's worded in the Loxodon with their trunk, that it can't wield weapons or shields or do anything that requires manual precision, such as tools, magic items, or performing somatic components?
So here's the
Or do you
thing.
want
The
to
trunk.
be able to do one of those?
I'm okay with the somatic components, and because it's already restricted by the armor, I do want this to be more versatile than this trunk. I am perfectly fine if they are picking locks, if they are throwing potions out, if they're doing precision effects, somatic components, like I just talked about. Why the fact that they not wearing armor is enough of a restriction that the somatic components shouldn't be an issue. I personally think we can use this new description.
Okay, that sounds good.
That is a good point, though. That is a good point. I will not deny that. But yeah, I'm just gonna hit all these check marks now.
Okay.
So start.
It cannot wield weapons. It cannot throw weapons.
So, and here's the thing. So we're gonna get to that as the very next item. So this next item looks a bit ridiculous to most people.
Yeah, glaive and dart.
Yeah. Okay. So allow me to explain. So we're not ready to do this today, but Cheddar, you may remember
See.
the discussion we had previously about possibly adding exotic weapons into the game.
Yeah.
So, the way that I was going to add exotic weapons is if you gain proficiency with a weapon from more than one place, you can instead gain proficiency with an exotic version of that weapon. This would actually be useful because, like, this way, if you suddenly add the dwarven war axe, which is a common exotic weapon, the dwarves' proficiency with battle axes kind of means that you get it already in the dwarven. You don't have to suddenly add an additional thing to make sure dwarves have this item. So the idea is that whenever a character has a weapon proficiency, it's because there's an exotic weapon that if they are master of, they would want, basically. So, yes, the dart, I don't think there's a single class that doesn't get the dart proficiency. And glaive is really... you don't need to challenge
I could
that.
look at that.
Wizards get darts.
Okay,
so
never
probably...
mind.
Yeah. You don't need to challenge that, but generally speaking...
You're right. It's
Yeah, it's a weird proficiency to give. The idea is there's an exotic weapon known as a githka and a gotchka, or something pronounced. I'm sure whoever's listening, if they love Thri-kreen, they're like, "You've pronounced that horribly. You're ruining this."
That's me, man. What the hell? Oh,
Anyways, so the idea is that the githka is the two-handed weapon, correct?
Yeah, it's essentially kind of a double glaive.
Yep. So the idea was that the githka was going to be a glaive, and the gotchka was going to be a dart. Gotchka, I don't think damage-wise is very different. Like, I could go check, but I don't think the gotchka was very different from a dart. And basically what this would do is would make it so that if you're a fighting... Because the glaive is a martial weapon, and a weird martial weapon at that. If you are someone who's like a martial weapon fighter, just any sort of martial weapon character, through these two proficiencies, you would have proficiency with the two exotic weapons that make the Thri-kreen well known. So that was the idea for these weapon proficiencies. Generally speaking, if you're not one of those races, the glaive is a really weird weapon to use, and like my only flaw is, what if someone actually starts using the glaive as a Thri-kreen? That's which is a very weird way of doing it. But generally speaking, I don't think most classes will want to use that. And yeah.
Is it more just for the flavor that we did this?
Yeah, it's not only is for the flavor, but also the added benefit that you have to have martial weapon proficiency to get their exotic martial weapons, I think fits well. Definitely worth discussion, but generally speaking, this ability is more of when we add the later exotic weapons, everything's set up for that. That's all this ability is doing. Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? I would actually like. I know me and Nate have been talking about Artemis. You've been out of the loop for a while. Anarchy. I don't know your
Yeah.
opinions. So let's start with Artemis. And yeah, what do you think?
Well, you see, the glaive is like a strictly strength-based weapon, and this entire like race is leaning heavily towards dexterity-based.
Cough. The Githka is a
So
strength-based weapon as well,
yeah, yeah.
which is weird.
But outside of that, personally, I have no like qualms with them having proficiency with a glaive, and then the dart just yeah, that's everybody gets proficiency with a dart essentially.
Yep.
But with the exotic weapons proficiency idea, I like that because then it gives you more customizability for your character.
I have a small question related to this, the Githka and the Chachka specifically. In the rules is written, is it possible for a player to wield a Githka and a Chachka? Could you kill a Thri-kreen and grab its weapon?
So-
Because technically the stats for them are on its page, but it's not a weapon that you can buy.
So yeah. So you ready to hear some of the description of how we were going to make the Gachka?
Yeah.
So the idea was, all right. So I remember you brought up previously that it seems like they make 2 Githka attacks and then So I remember you bringing up that like the Githka doesn't deal as much damage as most 2-handed weapons. It deals as much damage as a one-handed. So we were going to add something that says like when you make an attack action with a Githka, you could, as long as you have a free hand, which obviously no one but the Thri-kreen would ever have a free hand while wielding a 2-handed weapon, you could then use your bonus action to throw a Kachka.
Yeah. Which is like a ninja throwing star, basically.
Whoa. Gachka's damage output is closer to a javelin, not a dart.
Wait, it's closer to a what?
A javelin.
It's a 1d6 plus
Ooh.
2 slashing damage, as written
It's
in
a
here.
dex-based
Yeah, the hit.
slashing javelin. That is actually
Interesting.
Gachka is actually a strong weapon.
Yeah.
And if we put it in, I don't know. Let me just read it. The Githka melee weapon attack, +3 to hit, reach 5 foot, 1 target, hit 5, 1d8 plus 1 slashing damage, and the Chachka is a ranged weapon attack, +4 to hit, range 30 to 120 feet, 1 target, hit 5, 1d6 plus 2 slashing damage, making it similar to javelin damage.
And to clarify, that +1 for the Githka comes from their +1 strength, and the +2 on the Gachka comes from their +2 dexterity.
Yeah, that's just in the monster page there.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure it was clear to people who don't see the monster page, because I don't have it up. I've been looking at the Thri-kreen thing that we added. Did I?
Okay.
So I think that could use some work, definitely. But the whole point of this ability is that the Githka and the Kachka can come into play. When it's ready to come into play, this is how we're going to do it.
Okay.
Exotic weapons is definitely a discussion that we can have afterwards, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're moving on to sleeplessness?
Yep.
Oh, wait. Anarchy. Did you want to say something about the proficiency?
Oh, yes.
I just think it needs to be put in more detail so it doesn't confuse anybody, you know?
That is a good point. Just having these random proficiencies is a bit strange. So how's this?
Yeah.
What if we just deleted this for now, and then when we created exotic weapons, we then add something in. We figure out what the Githka. This will give us more time to decide what the Githka and Gotchka are more like, because turning a regular dart into the Gotchka seems a little strong, while turning the glaive into the Githka seems a little weak. So
Yeah.
I think we just delete this for now, and then when we actually add exotic weapons, we can modify this race. Any objections?
I'm totally for it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Nate? Nate, you are muted currently.
Apologies. Yeah, that's fine. I have no problem.
All right. Let's go over here. Ah. There we are. Okay. All right. So that's removed because just unnecessary to add right now until we create exotic weapons, which we want to be careful in creating exotic weapons because once we create it and people start creating characters around it, we're not going to be able to change it much. So gotta make sure we do it right. And I don't want making one exotic weapon being costing, an entire feat. So yeah. All right. With that out of the way, Sleepless. Artemis, do you want to continue reading it?
He did, and then I heard a bunch of, and I'm like, oh no, what happened?
Oh, something happening in the background for you?
No. Apparently, Discord didn't pick up what I was just saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyway, sleepless. You don't require sleep and can rest while remaining alert and performing light tasks. A Thri-kreen's inability to sleep is thought to be the reason why they have such short lifespans. You must still rest your body for 8 hours to gain the benefits of a long rest, though you may remain awake and aware for that period.
So, generally,
Yes. That's the Thri-kreen don't sleep, as written in the Monsters Manual.
so like it was just I was having an issue because first I'm like, okay, let's base it off of elves when they're not for the 4 hours they're not sleeping. Oh wait, a long rest is just 4 hours for them. Never mind, that doesn't work. Okay, let's use the Warforged. And apparently, like the description of the Warforged in the new Eberron, it basically says they sleep. It says they like shut down, they're in stasis. It has this whole detailed thing. I'm like, that also doesn't really work. So I made this kind of just the best I could. There is a few things where it's like, oh, I rephrased this and then I rephrased it again. Basically, I just don't want it to be abused. The idea is they can keep watch for the entire 8 hours, but you can't just like, oh, I'm going to go on a heist, and then when that heist's over, I'm getting the benefits of a long rest. Because that's what rogues would do.
Yeah.
I kind of like this mechanic flavorfully. The idea that it's a bug. Like they work all the time. The concept of sleep is like a foreign concept to them, which it would be really fun to RP. Are you guys stopping? Like, what are you doing? That would be really fun. But I was thinking, should we do? I mean, because essentially, any other race that needs to sleep. This is because all races are pushed to sleep because it holds an important mechanic in the game. You need to sleep in order to get all your stuff back and to heal fully and all that good stuff. So if you have multiple races do not sleep, and if on the off chance you have a party going to be the human or whatever that needs to sleep is going to be that, it's going to be a hassle. So I can see that's kind of why they didn't.
Battery, please charge.
Oh God, my earbuds are yelling at me that they're low on battery.
Yes, we all heard it.
Oh no, hang on.
It's okay.
But yeah, that's basically.
All right. So, personally, I think hopefully I phrased this properly and we won't have too much of an issue. They still need to get the 8 hours to get the benefits of a long rest. That's really the thing I'm worried about. I think as just someone who can be on watch for the entire rest is not really that broken. I mean, at 5th level, you get Lehman's Tiny Hut, which is arguably better than a Watcher. It's someone who, it's literally a shield that they can't get through.
Yeah. So it's not really a make or break type of thing.
Nope. It's just if we phrase this wrong, we ruin things. That's basically what the theme is.
Yeah. I'm good with letting it stand.
Yep. And I think now that I've had a second to look at it and just realized that Chameleon Carapace, while strong with the other synergies, isn't in and of itself strong. I think this class seems pretty decent. Sorry, we should hit languages before we go back to the whole synopsis.
Languages. You can speak, read, and write in Common and Thri-kreen. Thri-kreen is a method of communication involving waving its antennas and cracking its. Users find this manner of communication difficult to interpret and impossible to duplicate. Often Thri-kreen use pictures and such to communicate with other intelligent species.
That's unnecessary. So.
Oh.
No, this is my fault. So.
Oh, okay. So that's why when they couldn't speak Common.
Yes.
That's
so
leftover.
For people wondering, in the in the 5th edition Monster Manual, it states that Thri-kreen cannot speak. That this whole they use these pictures and stuff to communicate comes from the Monster Manual. Thing is, when I was doing my research, one of the things that came up is that people were annoyed they took away the Thri-kreen's ability to speak. In the initial creation of Thri-kreen, they could speak normally. That's how the words Gifka and Kachka came to be. They had their own language that they could communicate. So we just decided these are not Kenku. Let's give them the ability to speak. So they can speak, read, and write Common and Thri-kreen. Any objection for me deleting this bomb part?
Wait. How about, because it is as written. The holy book, it is as written. But I don't mind the decision for Thri-kreen to be able to speak Common. I think it's handy, and if it is written in the past, 'tis still canon, so that's fine. But
I'm gonna reduce your volume real fast.
Oh, my apologies. I'm not loud now.
All right, try again, or continue.
Is this better?
All right, I already reduced your volume, so we'll find out.
Let me speak softer. Put on some ASMR for you guys.
Now we can't hear you.
Today we're talking about the Thri-kreen. And okay, I like the idea that Common is something, they're so differently built. It makes sense that Common would be difficult for them. It would make sense that a Thri-kreen tribe or group that is isolated from other civilized races would not bother to learn Common Wild, which is why in the Monsters Manual I like to rationalize they do not know Common and cannot speak Common.
Yes.
So maybe we could, instead of just deleting the last bit, just in order to add more flavor, we could just add a little note to it. We could adjust the sentence saying that, Thri-kreen, who do not, something like how if they do not commonly associate with other civilized races, it's not common for Thri-kreen to know Common and speak.
So just how about this? Often Thri-kreen who do not speak Common. Would you prefer that?
Sure.
Is that okay? That's what you were trying to do?
Something like that. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Yeah, because the reason the Kenku cannot speak is because it's very much in the lore that they have to mimic, and because they have the ability to mimic, they immediately have an they have an in-world means to communicate without the need for speech. That's not something that the Thri-kreen have. That's why I didn't want to force this negative effect on them.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, like, I wouldn't have done this if it was like the fact that they all use the clacking languages was in their lore. But apparently, in 3.5, they were speaking Common and Thri-kreen. Like, this was something they added in 5th edition, apparently. So, didn't want to just ruin them because 5th edition decided they're monsters now.
Yeah, I kind of like that, and goes with kind of what we're doing, because they're not just monsters; they're intelligent humanoids. Can get along with others.
Oop. Cheddar,
You back, Cheddar?
You fix something? Seems he has not fixed what he was working on. How about now? Nope, seems not. Alright. He is typing in chat right now. He's asking us to hold on. Alright, well, while we do, is there anything else we want to speak about language? Anything that you noticed as we were going through? I think we're about to try to wrap this up and see whether or not this is something we like.
No, I think I'm pretty satisfied. I like how fleshed out everything is. My only concern was kind of I wanted to put a little bit more detail perhaps in the 4-limbed ability specification, and then just to get a consensus. That was it.
All right. So yeah, that's definitely a theme. I definitely. All right, let's see if it works this time. Cheddar.
Hello, hello.
Hello was heard.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about the change in mic quality. It's just my computer's not doing very hot right now.
It's understood. So should we just finish this up, try to get approval or disapproval, and wrap up today's session?
Yep.
All right. So first off, let's finish up. Let's talk about all the pieces. So languages. We just added the. I'm not sure where you cut out, but we just added that the Thri-kreen who do not speak Common use pictures and stuff. So we still have the flavor of that, but we no longer.
Yeah, the uncivilized ones use pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Basically, because we don't want I don't want to enforce on players that they can't speak with normally. Kenku do that, but Kenku have the mimicry ability, and they have means around it. They have a lot of means of communication that most people don't. Thri-kreen, they just have clacking sounds.
Yeah.
So, with that, are we ready to... Is it okay if I go through all the abilities just one last time, and then we discuss if there's any concerns and then try to get approval?
Sure.
Yeah,
And
sounds
if
like a
anyone
plan.
has a... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Anarchy.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. All right. So first, we have an ability to score increase, Dex by 2, Constitution by 1. Through all these things, our speed is 40 feet. We are a very fast creature. We have Dark Vision. We have Bite. We have AC as if we're in Mage Armor. And we have the ability to stealth and to hide without cover, as long as we're not being looked at and not moving. We have double the jumping distance, and we do not need to have a running start to jump. While we are Armored, we have an additional free hand, which we can use for somatic components and for pulling out items and things of that nature. During long rests, we can be on watch the entire 8 hours instead of having to take breaks with the others. That is the abilities of the Thri-kreen. Are there any concerns?
Yeah,
And is there
I think
anything
that,
preventing us from approval?
in my opinion, that seems like a solid player race.
Nate?
Perhaps one last thing. Just, I would like to add just a little bit more detail to the four-limbed, just because it's such a unique ability to the Thri-kreen. I want to specify. We don't have to list everything it can do because it's hands, obviously, but I would like to just throw a couple examples in there, just like the Loxodon trunk ability, like how it says we could lift something, drop something, hold something, push or pull, open a door, that kind of thing.
So something like this? Something like that?
Yeah.
Well, I want to note that what you're asking is for better understanding, not any changes to the mechanics, correct?
Exactly.
All right,
Yeah,
that
for
is
new folk.
important because when we approve, we can always work on flavor as we go on and as people make their characters. As long as the mechanics themselves do not change, that's what the technical meeting really worries about. All right, Anarchy?
Yeah.
You were flashing. I was wondering if you had any opinion.
No, I'm good.
All right. Are we ready? All in favor of all in favor of approving the Thri-kreen race? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, I heard 3 ayes. So I guess, yeah, we'll work on this flavor, but I think this this race is ready to be brought into the club, to be playtested, to be actively brought into campaigns.
Hooray!
As always, if a DM
We've done
starts
it,
finding
boys.
issues, they can bring it up and we can look back at it. But I think this class, I keep doing that. This race is ready to see some play. All right.
Cool.
Hell
Can't
yeah.
wait to create my assassin beetle. It'll be really fun.
I bet.
I mean, technically, it'll probably be a thief, but you know how it is. It's got to do the wordplay.
Exactly. All right. Well, is there anything else
That
we
took a
want?
while.
These always take a while. We like to go into detail with these things. With that, is there anything else we want to bring up? Are we ready to bring this technical meeting to the close? I heard, Cheddar, you were having some issues with your computer. You want us to end a bit? You want us to end after this?
Yeah, I was gonna just like get off as soon as we were able to come to a decision.
Yeah,
But if you guys want to keep going, totally can.
I think that's Nate and I will probably be talking about stuff, and if Anarchy wants to join in, we'll talk about things. But I think we're gonna be done with the technical meeting part of this itself.
I just wanted to hit the second point on the agenda. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the half vampire playable race with Anarchy, possibly.
Yes. So after this, so how's this? Next technical meeting, we will put a lot of focus. The next thing we wanted to work on was this half vampire playable race that there was a discussion about.
Okay.
Right now we don't have much for it. I think the bite and drain blood abilities don't even have descriptions. They're just listed as things we want to add. So there's still a lot of work for that one.
Oh, should I unpin Thri-kreen race? Because you're gonna
allow
be
me-
moving.
All right.
Yeah, moving it over to Leadfist's guide.
Yeah. So in case for people who don't know, we are making another larger document that has all the approved themes in it. So once we were done with this, we were going to move this all over there. I do ask that you wait for me to... Actually, how's this, Artemis? You want to get some advice on how to do that moving? How about the theme we tried to do is move that over into the Leadfist Guide on Sunday?
Okay. All right. Well then I will go ahead and sign off now. Later, guys.
Yep.
Later.
See you, Cheddar.
See you around.
All right. Well, with that, I think
right.
we're kind of done with this technical meeting. I think I'm going to shut down this video. Any objections? Anything you guys want to say first?
Nope. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thanks.
being with me. All right. Well, that's it for today's
All right.
technical meeting. It was fun. We did a lot of good work.